Welcome to Playing Above the Line, where we interview entrepreneurs, business owners, and community activists to get their thoughts and perspectives on leadership. Playing Above the Line is sponsored by Aviso Group, a business consulting and accounting firm focused on preparing clients for the future through innovation and positive growth. Welcome to Playing Above the Line. I'm Alan, your host, and we have got another good one for you today. And unlike most weeks here in the near past, we're actually coming to you from our Foley location conference room, and so if you hear some background noise, just disregard, because we are in a working office, but we're here specifically to be able to talk to Darrelyn Dunmore, and she is the executive director of Foley Main Street. And so Darrelyn, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
So let me start by asking you this. I think most people maybe would appreciate this first question. What is Foley Main Street? Okay, and what do you guys do?
This is a very good question. I get it a lot. And actually, when I was running around downtown, when I first became the executive director, and I go, "Hi, I'm Darrelyn with Foley Main Street." And everybody go, blank look. And what's that? It's a national program. It's actually a national program. And the state, Alabama, has a branch up in Birmingham. And you actually have to apply as a city to get into the Main Street program. And what that entails is almost like accreditation, like of a hospital or a school. It takes a lot of evaluation, takes a lot of looking at what you've done and where you're going. And it's per district. So a city can have more than one district. So Birmingham has 2 districts. I have to call him now Mayor Helmick at that point. And some of the other city council people put together a presentation and went to Alabama Main Street to see if we could get a district here. And they only accept 3 a year. So like one year they only accepted 1, but their maximum's 3 a year of new districts. So we were accepted in 2018.
Okay.
What does that mean? That means that we get to go into and it's like incubated.
Okay.
So they have a 5-year program that you start slipping into their proven, I guess you would call it proven formula to improve your district. And so the first year is evaluation. We were able to get a $30,000 marketing study from the National Main Street, just identifying, what is our target market and what is our actual market around downtown. And then the next year, we went into the branding section. So we went through the branding process, which is another $30,000, $40,000 price we didn't have to pay, to actually identify what we were going to label downtown and create a whole brand around that. So so it's Downtown Foley, and it's where the Gulf Coast begins is our tagline. Okay, very cool. So with that, it's a 40-year proven formula of a blend of 4 different sections: promotion, design, organization, and economic vitality to help improve downtowns and renew them. Yeah,
very cool. And when you were talking, I was just thinking it really is kind of a blended approach of economic development and revitalization and promotion and marketing and all the things that you would think of that you would do when trying to attract industry, attract tourists, attract people to come and live and
even
work,
residents.
And that kind of thing. Residents, exactly. Yeah, very cool. Well, this is going to be very good because not only are you doing that, but you also have a very I think unique background in that I know that you're a licensed Series 7 and 66 license holder. You have your own business, and that's called
Creative Energy.
Creative Energy, and so entrepreneur. So this is going to be good. We're going to get a lot of good perspective from you, so I appreciate that. So this is leadership. So let me just start by asking you, give me your philosophy, your thought, your definition of what a leader is. What is good leadership? What are your views on that?
It all boils down to servant leadership. I can't say it any simpler than that. Yeah. I truly believe that if you're serving other people, you just step out as a leader. I believe everybody has the capability of leading, and I think everybody, whether they're a mother and they're leading their children, whether you're at work as a teacher, you're leading children. Everybody has that opportunity to touch somebody's life, and if you're touching somebody's life in a positive way, then you're a leader. Yeah, no doubt. And you made a great point, and we've had people come on this podcast and say it before. When we've asked them to come on, they will say something to the effect of, "Well, I don't really, consider myself a leader. I didn't consider myself a leader until I started thinking about the question and what a leader looks like." And so I think your point is spot on that, a mom is leading her kids. A teacher is leading their classroom. And a leader that term encompasses so many things.
Yeah, I mean, every walk of life, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a matter, I think, that I put what are some of the qualities of a leader, and one of them is I put is taking time. Because if you're taking time with your children, you're taking time with your employees, you're taking time with the board you were working with, then that's helping give them something that then in turn helps you become a leader.
Yeah, and the thing about time is, we've all got 24 hours in a day, and so time is a finite resource, and it's very precious because they don't make any more time, right?
No, and also that's why I put that, because with as busy as we all are, you have to be able to step back and it's almost like a purposely give time. Yeah. Because we get so busy. It's hard to listen, which is another great trait, and it's very hard to give time. Yeah. And I think those are two things that really stand out to me for people that I admire that are leaders.
Yeah, no doubt, and I couldn't agree more. And so ability to give time is one thing that you mentioned. Another one that I want to ask about, and I'll get to that one in a minute because it's unique, and I know nobody's ever said this before. So I said that a lot, but sometimes I might not be exactly right, but I know nobody's ever said this one, so we're going to get back to that. But two more that you put down as far as qualities that you think someone needs to be a good leader: humble and relationship builder. I'm a big believer that the relationship is very, very important, I think, in the leader, person being led category. So talk about that, and also talk about the importance of humility.
Well, we've all been around people who are labeled leaders that don't have humility, and I think it diminishes them. And again, it's another thing that you have to practice. It's just like everything else. You can say that those are great qualities, and you have to work on them every day. But I truly believe that with humility and teaching, everybody's the same, and you're no better than anybody else, and that there but for the grace of God. It's just something that humility to me is a very, very important piece of it. It was the very first word that popped in my head when I was looking at those questions. They were so hard. No kidding.
No, well taken. That point is well taken, because I do think that could be the difference in a great leader, obviously, but even a leader that's good and effective, and one that's just awful. That one character trait, I think, can really make or break somebody's ability to lead and get people to fall in behind them for sure. All right, so now this is the interesting thing that I want to ask you about. So you put, as one of your qualities, enjoys puzzles. So you got to expand on that for me, because that is very, very unique, and I'm interested to hear what your take is on that.
I think that when I look at issues, when I look at working on a project, working on trying to get parties together, consensus building, because that's another huge role of a leader, is to build consensus and have everybody underwrite it and make it be part of their own. And to me, that's a big, huge old puzzle. It's like a big, huge old jigsaw puzzle. And taking these pieces, and how do you fit them together with each one of those pieces, feeling like that it's their own puzzle. If that makes sense. So it's a matter of, I always look at it as like, if I have this like impossible quote unquote task, the elephant, and I'm like, have people who are from different areas and different sides and are trying to figure out, I'm trying to go, okay, how can I get them to think this way, to get to think that way, to get that person to go with this person, to then work together to solve or to complete the project we have. And so to me, it's a big jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah. Well, and inherent in what you're saying is that in order for those puzzle pieces to come together and you as a leader to be able to kind of direct that, you've got to have a team, and you would hope that it's a good team. So can you kind of give us some characteristics that you think make someone a good team member, or when you're looking for people to come alongside you at Foley Main Street, what you look for in volunteers, or maybe people that work for you or people that you work alongside? What are you looking for in that?
Passion. And not even so much passion, maybe interest, maybe the enthusiasm of wanting to get something done. But you're not always blessed with having, if there's something that you really have to get done, that, like, say, maybe it's something that has to be at the state level, or maybe something that has to be done over boundaries. You sometimes don't get to pick your team members. So then it's a matter of the puzzle of, how does that person work? What's going to motivate that person? How can I get that person who's motivated this way to work with this person who maybe has so much energy but isn't taking the time to listen to, so it's kind of a cross. But I'm always looking for, I guess it's something, Owen Bailey. He was the CEO of Thomas Hospital many years ago, and now he's over at the USA Children's. Okay, all right. I think I better have gotten that right. He was one of my mentors, and he always said, hire the attitude, train the rest. And so I always look for attitude. If they're like, hey, I don't know anything much about this, but I'm willing to give it a try, I'm going to take that person and go, great. Let's go for it. We can do this.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a great point that's been made before. It's been a while. I think it bears repeating that culture is what we talk a lot about around our own firm, and then what we talk about with our guests. And it takes, every organization has a culture. And if you don't think yours has one, then that's a problem. Number one. But then number two, it takes years to build a good culture and to kind of get it to where you want it to be. But it only takes one person with the rotten attitude to come in and just destroy everything that you spent years building.
And they can have all the experience in the world, but that one person, can completely destroy. You're right.
Yeah. Hire for attitude, train for aptitude. I like that. So continuing along the line of mentors and influences, one thing I found interesting, and you got to tell me how you got to Foley from California, but your undergraduate is from Cal Poly, which is in San Luis Obispo,
correct,
California. So are you from originally from California? How did you?
I moved from L.A. to L.A., Los Angeles to Lower Alabama.
Well, that's quite a...
many years ago. We're not going to say how many.
Right. Well, sometimes I think the traffic on 59 here in front of our office is a lot like traffic out in Los Angeles because it can be rough in the summertime. Whew. But so tell me what you learned during your time at Cal Poly. You thought enough of it to actually write it down on the show primer. So what about that experience was important to you?
I did. I think the question on there was what experiences in your life brought you to where you are now.
Right.
And the first thing that popped in my head was Cal Poly. Okay. And for people who don't know, the technical California Polytechnic State Universities, San Luis Obispo is well known for its engineering, its architecture, one of the best schools on the West Coast. And their whole philosophy is learn by doing. So it was interesting. The owner of the BB&T building, Vita Bruno, who's out in California, she graduated from Cal Poly too.
Oh, really?
And I was trying to figure out why we had the same mindset about that. It just wasn't a barrier. And Cal Poly, when you're going to school there, they teach you that there's no barriers. There is a way to get things done. You just haven't found it yet.
Okay.
And so she's like, that's it. That is it. It's the whole philosophy of Cal Poly is learn by doing, and that it can be done. Somehow there's a way to get something done. Yeah,
it's a can-do attitude. It's not a can't do.
Exactly.
It's a can-do.
Yeah.
Well, and what about Brad Smith? So was he a sociology teacher there, or was he somebody? Okay, so
he taught me that there's more than two sides to every story, and that when you're looking at something, you take an issue and you look at it from two sides, and somewhere in the middle lays the truth. Mm-hmm. And truth usually relies within the person. Yeah. So it just was a really interesting, eye-opening thing when I was a sophomore in college to start looking at the world that way. Yeah. And it just kind of shaped how I look at things. I can't say one person's wrong, one person's right, because somewhere in the middle lies the truth. Yeah. All right, so one more. I got to ask about this fella because I'm intrigued. Art director in Guam. Amuro Matsusan. Yep, okay. So tell me about him. An amazingly talented person. I worked at an advertising agency there and was an art director there as well. And he had come from Japan because, Guam is Japan's Hawaii, and had in the filmmaking business, and did not realize his two partners were crooks. And they raised like millions of dollars, and the two other partners took off with the money. And in Japanese culture, he had lost face. And so he stayed in Guam to work at this advertising agency to pay back that money, and would not go home again until it was paid for. He just taught me a lot about respect, and he taught me a lot about saving face. So when I'm in an argument or when I'm working with people, I want it to where everybody comes out saving face. And it just meant so much to me when I knew I finally gained his respect. He was always polite to everybody and very sweet to everybody, but you knew he didn't respect you until he added the san on the end of your name. Okay. So when he finally said Darren San to me, I went, I did it. I did it. And it just meant the world to me. I really had to work at it. And I think that's something we've lost a lot. Sometimes I think no doubt. People just think that they should be given things. And he taught me a lot about saving face. Yeah, that's a great life lesson. So just looking at your resume, you've got to have that entrepreneurial spirit because you're doing what you're doing with Foley Main Street. You've got creative energy, you're advertising, marketing and design thing. And then you're involved in the financial planning and management side of things as well. So you got a lot of balls in the air, you're juggling a lot. So is that something you've always kind of had, is just a desire to not necessarily be tied to a desk 8 to 5, punching a clock type thing? Is that kind of your
been your philosophy?
I think it's ended up my MO. I'm not quite sure how. I don't know if it's just the way life was thrown to me, but I don't do the financial planning anymore right now. And that's due to the fact that, especially with the Series 7 part, you can't do that unless you're full-time, and which is a very smart philosophy for the securities licenses. I enjoyed that. It was too much paperwork for me. I was at the desk too much. And so everybody says, you went through all that and got the Series 7 and you just walked away? And I learned a lot. It was a learning experience. I think that, again, you don't know who you impact when you go through something like that. I shaped a whole class that's used nationwide now by Guardian to teach women about finance, because that's a passion of mine. I was a single mother for 17 years, and I know that women need more. They need to know more about finance. But I never thought about it when I jumped from the chamber over to the finance that it was that big of a deal. But I had a lot of women come up to me and say, you gave me the courage to try something. So again, you don't know who you're impacting when you're making a decision, in your life. So, but yeah, I guess I've always been kind of entrepreneurial. I'm a good team player, though.
Yeah. Well, but I think that's, we've asked the question before, but I think that it's that kind of little, I don't know, spark, whatever, I think is inherent in some people and not others. And I'm not saying that I think that everyone can develop good leadership skills, number one, entrepreneurial type skills, number two. But I do think that some people that is inherent in over others, and I think that it kind of comes out.
Some people are natural born leaders. Yeah.
You think so? Okay.
I think some people are very much natural born leaders. I think that some, like me, have to work really hard at it. But I think that there are some that just seem to just fall into it and just.
What do you think? What do you think is there a characteristic or something that you think is a commonality between the people that you're thinking about maybe in your mind that are natural born leaders? This question has always intrigued me, and I don't know that I've ever really been able to put my finger on it specifically, but there is something inherent in some people that just make you want to follow them, and I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know if there's persona, if it's just that air about them that it's just like, follow me, it's going to be great. We're going to be, I don't know if it's the attitude again. I'm not sure. It's
definitely something intangible. It's something that you can't, I don't know, I can't necessarily say it's speaking style or education or, a look particularly, because there are some people who I would consider not to be very good public speakers, but they're just people that you would run through a wall for, So I don't know. Maybe one of these days we'll figure it out, and if we do, we'll make a lot of money because we can start explaining it to folks.
We'll write a book together. Oh, that's another entrepreneur. No.
That's right. So what's the goal, the vision for Foley Main Street? If you look 2 or 3 years down the road, what do you want to have accomplished when you get to the end of that time frame?
What we want to see within 5 years is more economic vitality. And I know that's one of those kind of vague things, but when they hired me, my job is 80% economic development and 20% marketing.
Okay.
A lot of it right now is marketing because to me that increases economic vitality. Working with our businesses so that they can stay downtown, working with our businesses that are new and making sure that they're comfortable downtown, and then also working with our businesses that have been there for 30 years. And do they have a succession plan? Do we need to go in and reevaluate? One of my goals is to get a couple of experts in and help them just evaluate how they have their store set up and how people walk through, how their windows are dressed. A big thing is improving the look of downtown. So we have a lot of public art we're looking at getting started on downtown. We want to have pocket parks, working on more facade grants so that the buildings can be better looking, and then recruitment to get people down there to live. I think that's going to be a big key. One quote that's from Ed McMahon, he's the president of Main Street America right now, and he said that, if you don't have a downtown, what do you have? You can't have an identity of just being a shopping centers and parking lots. So your downtown is the heart of your city. Yeah. And so, Foley has already put so much into it, with Heritage Park and making that beautiful and getting people to want to come there. Now we're going to expand that out. My district goes from Verbena up to Rose, and then it goes from Mamma Mia's all the way over to where Fortress school colleges. So that's my area.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to do. We got a lot of empty land there. We have a lot of buildings that need to be worked on, keeping businesses viable and, trying to shape what an exciting downtown would be.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm curious because Foley, where we sit right now, is 19-ish miles from downtown Fairhope, Alabama. Mm-hmm. So if you ride through downtown Fairhope, it's beautiful. I mean, it's vibrant. There are, little mom and pop shops everywhere, restaurants, coffee bars, wine bars, that kind of thing. How can that be there? And then 19 miles down the road, Foley's got a nice downtown, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it's not.
We got a lot of work.
Yeah. But I mean, there's some work to do to get it up to, quote, another
Fairhope. Yeah.
Which I know Foley doesn't want to be Fairhope. Listen, hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But
he said that, not me.
Right. But I mean, you know what I'm saying. It's just.
I know what you're saying. And that's what the market study starts out with. And this is why it's more of we don't want to hope to be a Fairhope because, frankly, Fairhope, I don't know if you ever saw pictures of Fairhope before Fairhope became beautiful.
Yeah, no, I have not.
It was ugly.
Yeah.
It was an ugly little city. Mm-hmm. And I used to do a presentation when I was with the Chamber in Eastern Shore about Fairhope. Was it a pipe dream? Was it just there? Or and it turns out it's just hard work.
Yeah.
So we have hard work. Now, we're not ever going to be a Fairhope. I don't think we want to be a Fairhope.
Right.
The two words that we heard the most when we were going through the branding for downtown Foley was authenticity and welcoming. Mm-hmm. And those aren't two words I heard about Fairhope. Yeah. So that's what we want to gravitate to, and we want it to be where if we get boutiques that everybody can shop there, that it's not a Fairhope. And Fairhope's great. I love going to Fairhope and spending the day down there. We want to create our own authenticity and our own welcome and have it to where people want to come down for the Foley experience and have it be totally unique. And our mix is different because they have a lot of retail, they have a lot of stores. We have a lot more professional in downtown. So when we build out, because there's a lot of areas around Heritage Park and there's some land around which is still in my little district, where we might build out to different type of retail. Or it may be that we figure out how to do mixed use, which the city has prepped very well for. They already have the overlay districts for that. What about putting professional in the back and putting retail in front? Mm-hmm. Because retail is very expensive and it's a very big overhead. So how do we take this puzzle and how do we figure out how, because one of the biggest things that people want to see downtown is a walkable, they want to be able to go in the evening, they want to walk downtown Foley in the evening, and they want lights to be around, and they want little bands playing. Mm-hmm. So how do we create that with what we have? Right. And so it's just taking it one bite at a time, one project at a time.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the thing that you have going for you, that to me points to the fact that you're going to have great success, is that you've got some great community leaders that are absolutely buying into what you're saying. And I'm not going to name that. Well, I am too, because friends of our firm, clients, Tommy Lee, Francis Holt Jones, Donna Watts, who's the president and CEO of the South Baldwin Chamber.
Chad Watkins,
I guarantee
Ralph Helmick, and the city council, Charlie, they are all behind this. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling to be in a city where everybody is so supportive. It's great.
Yeah, and so I think that's going to be the key to success, because you do have those people with the passion, like you mentioned before, to fall in line with you and behind you and to help you along your journey. So that's absolutely wonderful. I can't wait to see what you guys do. That's right. All right, let's switch gears a little bit, talk a little bit about some fun stuff. So when you're not economic developing and marketing and that kind of thing, what do you do for fun? What do you do to kind of blow up?
I watch the History Channel. No, I'm just kidding.
I kind of do that sometimes myself.
I really do like the History Channel. Well, my husband and I, we bought a house in Foley, and so we are now Foleyans, I guess you call us. Mm-hmm. I love the beach, and I am just thrilled to be 15 minutes away and being able to just get up on Saturday mornings and go walk on the beach. Yeah. It's just wonderful. I do have grandchildren, so of course they are like anytime, especially it's been very hard with COVID, right? But anytime I can get my hands on them, I do. And I read books and I sew and I do art.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So speaking of books, one of the questions I typically ask is, give me it doesn't have to be business related or leadership related. It can just be anything that you enjoy, but give me a book or two, or an author that you particularly enjoy, or something that's really inspired you over your lifetime, the last few years.
I read constantly, and so I'm a big mystery fan. I guess that comes right up with the puzzles. But The Energy Bus, and I think it's by John Gordon, And it's about the energy you bring onto for teams and within your life, and also what energy to put off depending on your situations, team building, that type of thing.
That's a good one. I have not read that one, but I will, and that's one that's not been mentioned before. So that's great.
The other one, well, this is just crazy. One of my favorite books is The Once and Future King, about Camelot, and it was many, many years ago. Okay. And it just was so beautifully written. I think that kind of hooked me on books.
Yeah.
So I'm a big book reader.
It sounds like you're a big history fan too. So
I'm a big history. Yeah, I love books that are written on history they're based on facts, but they're written like novels, historic novels.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's finish up with a little this or that. Is that okay? We're going to play a couple of rounds of this.
Sure.
All right. Here we
go.
go.
I don't fail. Okay.
No, I don't think so. All right, dog or cat?
Dog.
All right, Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Phone call or text message?
Phone.
Facebook or Twitter?
Oh, Facebook.
All right. Ice cream cone or snow cone?
Oh, ice cream.
Android or Apple?
Apple.
Okay, good. Cake or pie?
Pie.
Okay. Big party or small gathering?
Small gathering.
COVID notwithstanding. It's okay to say big party. We're just going to social distance. Football or basketball?
Football.
Work hard or play hard?
Or wait a minute, hold on. I need to back that up. I'm married to an Englishman.
Oh.
So, premier football.
Okay, so the other kind of football, and my partner Dennis Sharon would say the right kind of
American
football.
football. I need to clarify that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I like American football, too.
What's worse, laundry or dishes?
I think I'd say dishes.
I cannot stand laundry. Hamburger or taco?
Tacos.
All right. Amusement park or day at the beach? I know the answer to this
Day
one.
at the beach.
All right. Candy at a movie or popcorn?
Popcorn.
Pancake or waffle?
Waffle.
Honesty or others' feelings?
Ooh. I'm going to be in others' feelings.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Brutal honesty to me has never been a very flattering trait to anybody.
Agreed.
And that's why I guess brutal honesty would be better than that.
Okay. All right, good.
That's a good answer.
Couple of more. All right. Horror or comedy?
Musicals. I'm a musical. I always thought you could sing through life, because I loved all those musicals when I was growing up. So I was like, what do you mean people don't walk down the street dancing and singing?
All right.
That's
So with that,
serious.
we will end with this question. What's your favorite musical? The one that you can watch over and over and over again?
Oh, Sound of Music.
Okay. Classic. It's a good one. Darrelyn, thank you so much for your time, and your dedication and passion is palpable. I can feel it exuding off of you, and so I appreciate that. We're going to link your social media and website and all that kind of good stuff in the show notes, and so people can go down there and check out what you guys have going on at Foley Main Street. And thanks again for joining us. This has been great.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes and Spotify. It definitely helps us in the ratings, and it also makes it easier for other folks to find the podcast. And as always, a big thank you to producer and editor Carrie Wolf. Playing Above the Line is sponsored by Aviso Group. If you want to know more about who we are and what we do, you can visit our website at avisogroup.com. That's AVIZO group.com. You can also check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks for listening.